Jake's foursome arrived at the golf course early in the morning and were able to tee off a half hour before the captain's choice tournament began. Since there was no one in front of them, they quickly covered the entire route in just 3.5 hours. He had to park on the street because his wife, Jill, was hosting her usual Saturday wine with the moms meeting. Among the participants were two wives of the men in his foursome he was playing with that day and Wanda, Jill's old neighbor and friend from her college days. He walked around the house until he overheard what they were discussing. Jake grinned and looked into the bushes. "I've never gone to work without underwear," said Wanda, Jill's old friend, taking a long sip of wine. Jake was surprised that all the women had been drinking, including his usually conservative wife. He thought he would hear more secrets and quickly headed into the garage to the security panel. There he turned on the camera in the backyard and pressed record. From the small monitor screen he watched and listened. He hoped none of them noticed the green light turn on. The next, "Never I've Never," was dicey as the women tried to outdo each other. Jake found out that his wife was pleasuring herself at work and kissing other men on New Year's Eve at midnight. It was also revealed that two of them had engaged in threesomes with men, but Jill did not drink. However, the next question turned out to be truly shocking. "I have never cheated on my husband," said Wanda. Jake's eyes widened as all the women, except Jill, took a sip. He sighed with relief. But it didn't last long. "What exactly is considered treason?" asked his wife. "It's simple. Cheating is when you had sex with someone other than your husband while you were married. Once or 100 times, it doesn't matter," Wanda answered. Jake's world came crashing down when he saw Jill slowly lift the glass to her lips and take a sip. His legs gave way, and he fell onto the hood of her SUV with a thud. Things got worse when Alicia said, "I've never had any other type of sex," and immediately drank. Jake looked back at the monitor and saw Jill lowering the glass from her lips. The wine flowed down her chin, and she greedily licked the drops with her long tongue. She allowed another man to do something she had never allowed him to do. And then it got even worse. "I've never done such a perverted thing," Melissa said. Once again, Jill shocked him by taking a sip and licking her lips. "I hope our husbands don't find out about this," Alicia giggled. "Everything that is said here remains between us, right?" "Of course," Jill said, glancing at her watch. "Girls, it's time to finish. The husbands will be back soon." The two neighbors quickly left, leaving Jill and Wanda alone. "Well, how long has it been since you saw him?" Wanda smiled. 10 months ago. It only happened once that week. When Jake returned from Europe, he arrived several hours early and almost caught Alex leaving the house. This scared me so much that I no longer dared to take risks. "Alex," Jake repeated furiously. "Her damn ex from college." "I don't understand." "Why him?" Wanda asked. "Alex left you and made you cry for 2 weeks. What could make you come back? Do you still love him?" "God, no. It was just sex. Jake satisfies me, but with Alex I lose my head. Not only does he have more, but he can do it longer. Have you ever experienced 3 pleasures from sex in a row? We tried everything possible in these 4 days. With him I can be slutty, but with Jake I can't. So Jake doesn't quite satisfy you. It's better at delivering pleasure, but otherwise, no. But he is my best friend. I love him and cannot live without him. He is the father of my daughter, and I want to grow old with him. Is he going to Europe again? Yes, he is obliged to go there once a year. You and Alex. Again? A big part of me says no, but it's only 1 week a year. Alex is also married and has 2 small children. I think we both realize how lucky we were that Jake didn't catch us then. But neither he nor I can live without each other. Once a year is enough to last a whole year. This time I will suggest meeting at a hotel away from home. Maybe I should go to Europe with Jake to keep him company? I would rather make love than just have sex. Don't even think about it, bitch. He's mine, so hands off." Tears rolled down Jake's face as he listened to his wife's plan to cheat again in a few months. They had talked about having a second child, but that was now out of the question. He was about to stop the video when he heard Jill's phone ringing. "Jill, this is Alicia. Alan was at home when I arrived. They finished the game much faster than usual. I saw Jake's car parked on the street. He must be there." "God!" Jill screamed and ran into the house. "Jake is home." She and Wanda searched the entire house, but never found him. "Jake!" Jill shouted, noticing the open door in the garage. She ran outside and saw that his BMW was gone. "Oh God, Wanda, he's gone. He should have heard us." "How much do you think he heard?" "Enough to leave." "God, what should I do?" "Maybe he hasn't heard about the 3 pleasures of sex and the big size. If he heard it, he won't forget it. But I admitted to cheating and another type of sex. We all did it. We can say that we were just lying to outdo each other. Damn, do you think he'll tell his husbands everything? Oh God, Wanda, what have I done? I lost the only man I ever loved. First, we need to find out what exactly he heard. You shouldn't admit to something he doesn't know. Give me his number and license plate. I'll ask my cop brother Walt to find him. In the meantime, let him calm down. I'll try to call Jake and see what he says. Jake downloaded the dash cam video to his phone and erased it from the device. He then called his assistant Connie and asked her to meet him at his office to pick up a key to one of the guest apartments his company maintained nearby. "Are you going to tell me what's going on?" she asked, finding him sitting alone in the office. In 5 years of working with him, she had never seen him so depressed. "I can't now, Con." "Okay, but you'll need some clothes and toiletries. I can go to your house and pick them up." He hesitated. "That would be great, at least until I can get my things. But you don't have to tell Jill where I am. I don't think she knows about these apartments." His phone rang, and he looked at the screen, expecting to see Jill's ID, but instead it was Wanda. "Screw you," he said before rejecting the call. "Sorry," he added, turning to Connie. "Who did it? She or you?" Connie asked. It was obvious that someone had changed. "I'm offended that you could even think that. I would never cheat on my wife. You should talk to her before you do or say something stupid out of emotion. I know there is no good excuse for cheating, but let her explain herself." "I know why. He is big in size and makes her scream and lose her head. She said that I don't satisfy her." "God, did she tell you that?" "Yes, I overheard her talking about this to her best friend. I'm done with her, and I never want to see her traitorous face again." "Damn, I couldn't even imagine this. She always loved you so much when I was around you. She said it was just sex." "Yes, but how can you love a person and at the same time sleep with someone else, breaking your marriage vows? I can come and pick up your things. I promise I won't tell her where you are or anything you told me today." They hugged, and he left for the apartment. Jill was glad that their 6-year-old daughter, Julian, stayed the night with her mother. She was afraid to call Jake, so she just sat with a large glass of Pinot Noir and remembered the week of cheating with Alex. This shouldn't have turned into a romance. Her daughter was spending the week with her grandparents, and she felt lonely after Jake left. She remembered that tomorrow was Alex's birthday. She still had his email address and sent him a short message. "Happy birthday." He quickly replied, "Thank you. I've been thinking about you lately." She didn't answer for more than an hour, but as she lay in bed, she remembered how they used to indulge in sexual marathons. "Me too." They corresponded until 2 o'clock in the morning. "How about lunch tomorrow?" "I live nearby," he suggested. "I'm not sure this is a good idea." "It's a small town," she replied. As a teacher, she couldn't afford to be seen with another man. "Your husband is in Europe. What could go wrong? Unless we—" "What?" "I think you want the same thing as me. And you don't want anyone to see it, so." She knew it was wrong, but she answered anyway. "Come to my house, but park the car in the garage. Let me know when you're here and I'll close the door. I'll send you the address." That's how her betrayal began. The sex was simply mind-blowing. By the time she experienced the first wave of pleasure, her body was engulfed in heat and fatigue. Alex learned new ways to please her and knew how to act at the right moment. Fortunately, the neighbors did not hear her loud cries. "That's enough," she finally said after several days of intimacy. Her strength was running out, and she dreamed only of peace and sleep. She felt exhausted and tired after everything that had happened. Every part of her body needed rest. Afterwards, they sat and talked about their lives since college. It was obvious that Alex deeply loved his wife Anna and adored his twins Macca and Miller. She also said how much she loved Jake and their daughter. Every evening they called their spouses, pretending that nothing was happening, and ended the conversation with the words, "I miss and love you." On the last night, they laughed at old college friends, but didn't try to have sex. Both felt guilty. The next morning, they didn't have sex again, but finished breakfast and took turns taking showers. "Well, I have to go. I told Anna that this urgent business trip would only last 5 days. I think it's better for us to stop communicating for a while," he said. They kissed each other on the cheek and hugged lightly. It really was just sex. After he left, she sat for a while and heard a signal about a new message on her phone. It was from Jake. "Surprise! I'm coming back early. The plane has just landed. I'll be there soon." "Oh God," she gasped, calculating that she had about 45 minutes. She ran upstairs, tore off the sheets soaked in sweat and sex, hid them in the closet, and put on fresh ones. The bedroom smelled like sex, so she sprayed air freshener and opened the windows. After taking a shower, she quickly dried her hair and put on jeans and a long-sleeved shirt. After brushing her teeth and rinsing her mouth to remove the taste of Alex, she did a quick tour of the house. She found empty beer bottles in the trash and pizza boxes in the garage. She took the trash out to her SUV, collapsed on the couch, and pretended to read a book when he came into the house. "I missed you so much," she smiled and hugged him. "Me too, honey. We finished early and they wanted me to stay, but I couldn't wait to hug you." He reached out and squeezed her buttocks, but she pulled away. "Sorry, honey. I have thrush. It's mild, but I hoped it would go away before you returned." After a few days, she feigned pleasure during sex. "God, that was amazing," she said, realizing how easy it was to pretend. Jill snapped out of her memories when she heard the doorbell ring. "Jake," she said nervously, opening the door. "Oh, it's you, Connie." "Hello, Jill. Can I come in?" "Jake asked me to come over and pick up some of his things." She tried to look neutral, but avoided looking into her guilt-filled eyes. "Come in. Where is he?" "I left it in the office," she answered honestly. He said, "Why not at home?" "I mentioned something, but it's none of my business," she lied. "How is he?" "Not really." He was very shocked. Jill covered her face with her hands. "Please tell him that I love him very much and want him to come home." "Of course," Connie said, rolling her eyes. Jill noticed and heard the doubt in her voice. "He told you everything, right? What exactly did he say, Connie?" She needed to understand exactly what he heard. "Jill, I need to take his things and leave. I need things for at least a few days until he can pick up the rest. So you won't tell me." "I promised, and I keep my promises." Connie pricked her. "Figure it out yourself." She was about to head upstairs to collect his things, but Jill blocked her way. "If he needs something from this house, he must come and take it himself." She folded her hands over her chest in protest. "You've already hurt him enough, Jill." "Fuck you, Connie. Get out of my house." "Bitch," Connie hissed quietly, walking past her towards the exit. Jill called Wanda. "I need you to come." 20 minutes later, Wanda sat down next to her. Jill's eyes were red and wet with tears. "He knows." "My God, we're all finished. Have you talked to him?" "No, he sent his little Connie to pick up things." "I sent her nothing. I need to talk to him before he does something stupid. I can't live without him." "What will you tell him?" "You admitted that you had an affair with Alex, that he gave you pleasure during sex in a row, and that he had more. This was supposed to destroy his ego and self-confidence." "Oh God, you're right. I never thought about how he felt. I need to tell him how much I love him, and that the affair with Alex was just sex." "Well, good luck to you. Besides, you said you were going to do it again when he goes to Europe again." Maybe you should leave him alone and give him time to heal his wounds. And I need to talk to him to make sure that he doesn't tell our husbands that we also admitted to cheating. Connie called Jake and met him at his apartment. She had always been partial to her boss, but she knew that he was not the type to cheat. After she told him about her conversation with Jill, they went out onto the terrace and sat looking at the stars. "It's strange how your life can go downhill in just a few minutes," he said. "What are you going to do, Jake?" She took his strong hand in hers. Seeing tears welling up in his eyes, she moved closer to him in the lounge chair and hugged him with her soft body. "After what I heard, there will be no turning back. Why did she even marry me if she still loved that idiot? It was probably just sex. At least that's what my ex-husband told me. But I've always heard, once a cheater, always a cheater. If you want to talk to my lawyer, I'll give you his number." She leaned over and kissed his cheek, feeling a few tears fall onto her lips. "I'm always there, remember that," she said. He turned his face towards her, and they simultaneously reached out to each other. Suddenly, they started kissing passionately and deeply. She felt like she was on cloud nine in his arms, their tongues dancing like they were playing Dixie. She wanted more, but she wasn't sure if he was ready. He was lost in her kiss and did not notice how her fingers began to search for his belt. Before he could do anything, her hands slid under his boxers. I can't," he groaned, removing her warm hands and quickly returning his excited friend back under the fabric. "Don't feel sorry for me. Jake, believe me, any woman I know would agree to you in a heartbeat. Don't let that bitch make you doubt yourself. I see that she still loves you, but she understands that she made a terrible mistake and can no longer fix everything. I am here for you anytime and for whatever you need." "Did you find him?" Wanda asked her brother as Jill sobbed on the couch. "Yes, the patrol noticed his car at one of the condominiums. I checked, and it turned out to be owned by a company called Wellington Engineering. While I was there, another car parked next to his, and a woman in a black t-shirt and red shorts rang his doorbell. He opened it, and apparently they knew each other since he let her inside. I'll send you the address. Do you still need my help?" Walt asked. "Not yet, but perhaps later. I'll call you." She ended the call and turned to Jill. "He's in an apartment owned by Wellington Engineering." Walt said a woman came in wearing a black t-shirt and red shorts. This is his company, and that bitch Connie is with him now. I have to go and explain to him that it was just a one-time mistake and I won't do it again. He probably heard you say you were going to do it again this year when he leaves. And saying it was just sex doesn't help after you talked about pleasure with Alex and how Jake doesn't satisfy you. But I said that Jake satisfies me. All he heard was that he wasn't as strong as Alex. Sorry, but right now he's really suffering and licking his wounds. But I need to talk to him and beg him not to tell our husbands about this. Wanda waited for the address from Walt, made sure Jill was asleep, and got into the car to drive to that condominium. As she pulled into the parking lot, she saw Jake's apartment door open and a sweet woman hugged him goodbye before leaving. Wanda thought it must be his assistant. Jake was getting ready to take a shower and was walking up the stairs when the doorbell rang. He thought it was Connie who had returned and opened it without even looking through the peephole. "What did you forget?" he asked. As soon as the door opened, Wanda slipped under his arm and walked inside. She walked to the sofa and sat down. "We need to talk. Did this girl of easy virtue send you? Tell her it's over between us, and I never want to see her cheating face again. She loves you, Jake, and I know you love her too. She said it only happened once, and she swears it won't happen again." He laughed at her naivety. "Really, just once. Once a year, maybe, but for how many years have I been going to Europe for a week? Let's count 8 years. So 8 weeks is 2 months. She had sex with him for 2 months, and this year began the third. She's probably laughing at me, seeing my small size, and knowing that I can only give her one pleasure at most." "You're wrong, Jake. She loves you and doesn't love him. He used it in college and threw it away like an old rag. He was just a living sex toy for her while you were gone. Jake was on the verge of an explosion and decided to go on the offensive. Is that why you cheated on yourself or continue to cheat, Wanda? Do you also use your lover or lovers as a sex toy? Now she realized that he had heard everything. We were just joking and lying to each other. Everyone who plays this game does this. We were just trying to outdo each other. I've had enough of your nonsense. Either you leave before I count to 10 or I throw you out. But before I start counting, tell that bitch that lives in our house that she doesn't have to wait until I go to Europe. But if I catch that bastard in my house, he better pay the insurance. And I can't guarantee that some of this won't come up at the golf club or when you meet your husband. You have no proof, and if you tell these lies, you will need a good lawyer, she said, hoping that he would be afraid of her threat. But instead he smiled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He stopped counting when he heard the front door slam shut. Instead of grabbing a bottle of whiskey, he sat down at the kitchen table, opened his laptop, and muttered, Alex, Alex Morgan, who are you? Alex was already thinking about seeing Jill in a few months. Of course, he loved his wife, but sex with her was boring and routine. With Jill, everything was real without restrictions. He'd already marked the first week of June on his calendar, the same period Jill's husband had gone to Europe last year, and was starting to come up with a fake business trip when his phone vibrated. It was Jill. Something serious must have happened if you're calling my number. Oh, he knows everything, Alex. Her voice trembled. She could hardly stop sobbing. Damn, Jill, how could this happen? We have provided for everything. 10 months have already passed. It was my fault. He overheard Wanda and I talking about it. I haven't seen or heard from him since yesterday morning when he left to play golf. He told Wanda he hated me. Damn, damn, damn. Does he know who I am? I think so because your name was mentioned during our conversation. I just wanted to warn you because I have no idea what he's going to do. Wanda said he hinted that he was going to tell her husband about it. And probably my wife Anna. What the hell can we do, Jill? You must talk to him and calm him down. Offer him anything, even your ass. You said he never had it. Alex, you don't understand. He hates me, and I could offer him anything, but he would just laugh at me and call me names. It's time for me to go because my daughter will be home soon, and I don't need anyone listening. About the biggest mistake of my life. It was mine, too, he sighed. What were we thinking, Jill? We didn't think about the consequences, that's for sure. If we talk, I'll try to get him not to say anything to Anna. Goodbye, Alex. She knew that no matter what happened, she would never see or speak to him again. The next morning, after a terrible night of sleep, Jill made it to midday when she heard a car pull up outside. She slept on the sofa so as not to feel lonely on the huge double bed. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Her 6-year-old daughter Juliana screamed as she walked into the house. She ran and jumped into her mother's lap. Mom, were you crying? She didn't see her mother Betty come in and look at her. Yes, baby. I just watched a sad movie and couldn't help but cry, Jill lied. That must have been really bad, Mary said suspiciously, looking at the huge pile of used napkins on the floor in front of her. Little Julian looked around. Where is Dad? I need to tell him about the puppy that Grandpa brought home. He will be so happy because I know Daddy loves puppies. Sorry, sweetie, but Daddy had to leave town on business and will be leaving in a few days. She looked at her mother and saw the doubt on her face. Juliana made a sad face. But Daddy never leaves without first kissing me and telling me how much he loves me. Does this mean he doesn't love me anymore? Tears began to flow from her small blue eyes. Daddy loves you to the moon and back. I hope he calls later and you can talk to him. Why don't you go upstairs to your room and put away your clothes? Okay, but I miss my dad tucking me in and singing You're My Sunshine before I go to bed. This helped Jill. She got up and ran to the bedroom so that her daughter wouldn't see her screaming. 20 minutes later, Mary knocked on the bedroom door and opened it. She eats cookies, milk, and watches cartoons. What's going on, Jill? Mom, I screwed up so badly. So bad. I cheated on Jake, and he found out. Oh God, I think I've lost him. She fell face down into the pillow to hide her cries of sadness. Mary wanted to scream and yell at her daughter, but she knew it would do no good and would only cause more pain. She had to find out everything. Tell me what happened. I'm so ashamed. I don't know if I can. Will you still love me? Darling, I am your mother. There is nothing wrong you can do to make me not love you. Maybe I can help. If you remember, Uncle Abel discovered that your Aunt Agnes was cheating. He was ready to leave her. Wolves until she and I came up with a plan to make him believe she would never do it again. It wasn't easy, but she insisted, and they are still married today. But I didn't tell you the worst part. He heard me say that he couldn't please me like Alex did, and that Alex was so much more. Besides, it's so hard to say, but I let Alex have a different kind of sex with me. Jake never did it, but he wanted to. First of all, is there any chance that you and Alex will get back together? You know, if there were two divorces. Absolutely not. Every time I saw him, I remembered everything I had lost. Apart from sex, we have nothing in common, and I feel like he feels the same. We never said we loved each other, even as children. Let me contact Agnes and tell her everything we've done, and maybe, just maybe, we can keep you two together. I need to go home and let you reconnect with Julian. We can talk tomorrow. After her mom left, her phone rang, and she saw it was Jake. She took a deep breath and replied, "Hi, honey. I am Sir. I didn't call to hear that you're sorry. Damn, now everyone is sorry you had sex with your old boyfriend for 5 days. Please don't say that. I know you're angry and you'd like to break my neck right now. Hell, I'd like to do that too, but I have a little girl who needs her daddy right now. Come home tonight and tuck her into bed and sing to her. I promise I won't even talk if you don't want me to. You can get what you need for a few days to calm down, and maybe then we can talk. Just remember that no matter what you heard or what happened, I love only you and always please come home." When he first heard her voice, he remembered what she said on the patio. "Okay, but only for Julian. Don't tell me a damn thing." He knew that his daughter usually went to bed at 7 p.m. "I'll be there at 10 to 7. Jill saw a glimmer of light, but it was very faint. She hoped that her mother would come up with something to at least slow down the collapse that was coming. Looking around the house, she saw photographs and memorabilia of their life together. They met on a roller coaster ride near the beach. She was already sitting in the carriage when he asked if she could join. Their eyes met, and they immediately understood. 2 months later, they moved in together, and a year later, they got married and bought their first house. Money was tight until he got a huge promotion, and she was able to work as a full-time teacher. He rarely went on business trips, going abroad only once a year to attend the annual civil engineering conference. It took them so long to build everything, and only one disastrous week of cheating to destroy the foundation of their marriage in one crushing blow. The walls began to shake and the paint began to peel. The foundations of trust and respect were shaking and were about to collapse. She hoped he had enough love left for her to stop the destruction she had caused. An hour before he arrived, she prepared Juliana something to eat and gave her a quick bath. "Why are we in such a hurry, Mom? I wanted to surprise you, but your dad hasn't left on his trip yet and will be here soon to put you to bed and sing your favorite song." "Is it true? Is it true?" Juliana shouted, quickly finishing the nuggets, drinking the milk, and already at the table starting to take off her clothes. "Mom, quickly pour water into the bath." For a few moments, Jill was happy, but she knew that this happiness was for the sake of her daughter. She loved her dad and would never understand why he wasn't with her every night and every weekend. The sad truth was that Jill felt the same pain. She couldn't imagine returning home from work without Jake welcoming her with open arms. She prayed for a miracle, realizing that the chances of getting one were negligible. While her daughter splashed in the shallow water, Jill hurriedly tidied up her hair and applied some makeup. But no matter what she did, her eyes remained red and swollen. The clothes were simple, his favorite t-shirt and shorts that he liked. Dad will arrive in 5 minutes, honey. Let's put on our pajamas and get ready for bed. Jill stayed busy cleaning the house, which was mostly cluttered with her used scarves. She was putting Julian's pajamas on when she heard the front door open. "I'm home," Jake shouted. He looked around the house that might no longer belong to him. His face lit up with a wide smile for the first time in days as he heard the light patter of little feet running down the stairs. "Dad, Dad, I missed you." His daughter ran out from around the corner with wet hair and bare feet, wearing Minnie Mouse pajamas. She jumped into his strong arms and hugged his neck. Jake was so focused on his daughter that he didn't immediately notice Jill standing in the shadows. He glanced at her and saw her sadness, but she smiled as she watched Juliana hug and kiss her dad. "Dad, I thought you would leave without kissing me and singing our song." She hugged him so tightly that it was difficult for him to breathe. Joel, give me some air," he said with difficulty until Jill gently pulled her daughter away. "Thank you," he said, seeing her concern and at the same time feeling the pain from the wound. "Come on, maybe you can tell me how your day was." "Mom said it's time for me to go to bed." Jake looked at Jill. "Is it okay, Mom, if she tells me how her day went?" "Of course we missed you today." He didn't answer. "Let's go to the living room and you can tell me." "Dad, my grandfather got a puppy and he allowed me to give him a name. She's a girl and I named her Sunny after our song." He was speechless for a moment. "But how can she be sunshine if you are my sunshine?" "Silly, we can both be sunshine because there is so much sunshine in this world. You know, when it's dark here, the sun is still shining somewhere. The teacher told us about this last week. You are becoming so smart and mature. Soon you won't even want me to lay you down or sing to you." He glanced at Jill, who looked like she was about to cry. "No, Daddy, I'll never be too old for this, because you sing that no one can take your sunshine away, and you are your mother's sunshine, and no one can take her sunshine away either." Jake understood that he was losing, and he needed to somehow stop this conversation. Jill promised not to interfere and did a good job of it. "I think it's time to sleep. Let's go upstairs." He picked her up and carried her past Jill. "Good night, darling," Jill said, feeling her eyes fill with tears again. "No, Mommy, you have to come with us because we all have to kiss each other goodnight." "Darling, maybe not today?" Jake asked. "We must, otherwise it won't be the same." The thought of kissing Jill disgusted him. "Maybe we can do this some other time." "No, today we have to do this every night." "Sorry, dear, I can't today." "Then I don't want you to sing to me. If you don't kiss us, it means you don't love us. Mommy, take me to bed and you will sing my song." She slipped out of his hands and jumped towards Jill. "Jake," Jill looked at him with anger. "Julian, kiss me and I'll go pack my things." He leaned towards her, but she pushed his face away. "No." Jill got angry and quickly took her daughter upstairs. She was already crying, and she tried to calm her down. "Tomorrow after school, we can go to Grandpa's and see Sunny." "Okay, but will you sing me my song today?" "Certainly." Tears flowed as she began. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when the sky is gray. You will never know, honey, how much I love you." Jill's voice trembled, but she finished loudly so that Jake would be sure to hear the last words. "Please don't take my sunshine." She noticed that Julian's eyes were wet but closed, and she continued to hum until the girl fell asleep. She kissed her forehead and, lowering her head, returned to the bedroom with a feeling of complete defeat. Jake was in the bathroom and sang, "You told me once that you love me, and that no one will come between us. But now you've moved on and you love someone else. You shattered all my dreams." Jill couldn't help herself. "You're so wrong, Jake. I love only you, I didn't leave, and I'm ready to do anything to bring back our dreams. I hope you're proud of yourself for making your daughter cry before bed." She came downstairs. A few minutes later, he came down with 2 suitcases. "Can I tell her when you'll be back?" "Hire a lawyer, Jill, and have him contact James." "So that's it. No talking, nothing. I don't think you want to hear what I have to say. But I want to. I want you to call me a girl of easy virtue, a slutty woman, a traitor. I deserve this because I hurt the only man I have ever loved and will ever love. He meant nothing to me, nothing, and no one else will. Please, let's at least talk about how we can put this behind us and get back to our dreams with Julian. When he remained silent, she continued, You hurt her today, and if this continues, I will protect her from you. Today you were wrong, and I never thought that you could do this to our angel. Leave. She started crying again and ran upstairs. Jake froze. He wanted to go upstairs, hug her, and tell her that they could overcome everything. But how? Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Alex having sex with his wife. How could he compete with that? He took his suitcases with difficulty and went out. Jill cried herself to sleep, and in the morning Julian woke her up jumping on the bed. Mommy, I want to see Sonny. Hurry up, get dressed. Jill tried to look cheerful while taking a shower and washing her hair. She felt that it was all over. Her marriage to a wonderful man and father is over. She knew she had to see a psychologist to understand why she did what she did. While she was drying her hair, her phone vibrated on the sink. She looked and saw that she had received a message from Jake. She dropped the hairdryer and immediately opened his message. Forgive. She read it out loud several times. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What does this even mean? She was still puzzled when she got to her parents' house. Mom, have you talked to Aunt Agnes? Yes, but tell me what happened to Jake last night. How did you know that he came? I was worried about you. I drove past and saw his car. I parked across the street at Mrs. Wilson's and watched until he came out with 2 suitcases. So tell me. Jill told her everything, and Mary pulled out a 2-page contract signed by Agnes and Abel. I have a contract that Agnes signed to convince Abel that she will never cheat again. Jill was skeptical until she finished reading it. How do we get him to sit down and read this? There are 2 things he values more than anything in the world. We will use both. Mom, this is a dirty game. I know. On Monday, Jake decided to work in his apartment, trying not to think about what Jill had done. He would never have thought that she was capable of sleeping with someone else. He knew she dated a guy named Alex in college, but from the way she talked about him, he was a jerk and she hated him. Of course, they had some difficulties in their marriage, but mostly in the early years related to money. However, she always said how much she loved him and claimed that she was completely satisfied in bed. Jake knew he was larger than average, and she never complained. But now he realized that she had tasted Alex's impressive size in college. He was about to call his lawyer when the phone rang. He saw that it was Mary, his mother-in-law. Since his mother died, Mary quickly filled that void. Hello, Mom. Jake, I know what's going on, and I feel so bad for both of you. Mom, I'm not sure I can discuss this with you. She's your daughter, and I'm sure you don't want to hear what I think about her right now. Son, I just want you to know that I loved you like my own. I can imagine the pain you are experiencing right now, and it hurts me too. I just hope you don't act out of emotion. Think about what you could lose and what your life would be like if you broke everything off. Yes, maybe not. I'm sure I selfishly want you to remain part of our family, and I'm here to help in any way I can. I know, Mom. My mind is racing back and forth. I love her so much, but I can't forget what she did and said. They say time heals, but it's more than just a wound. It tore out a piece of my heart and trust in her. He heard her sobbing. Are you okay? No, I'm scared that my family is falling apart, she sobbed. Listen, why don't you come to me tomorrow? Mac won't be home, and maybe we can at least work on trust. I'll make your favorite stir-fry and potatoes. He was finally able to smile. You always knew how to persuade me. I took this week off, so what time? Maybe at 4 o'clock? And don't have a heavy lunch. Yes, Mom, he chuckled. Okay, son, I love you. Goodbye, I love you too. His joy disappeared as soon as the connection was broken. He realized that he would lose not only his wife, but also time with his daughter, as well as the person he had come to consider his mother. The pain in his heart and the loss of trust were terrible, but what killed him most was the loss of confidence that he could satisfy Jill the way that Bastard did. He realized that he needed company to talk and picked up the phone. "Hello. Connie, it's me." Jake knew that Jill would not be able to justify her behavior, how she could turn from a gentle wife to a promiscuous woman for 1 week and then become the same again. He was also absolutely sure that he would never want to touch her in any way again. However, he was smart enough not to rush into a cold, impulsive decision about divorce. There was too much at stake: equal time with Julian and financial stability. He also knew that he would have to be impeccable in his relationships with other women, otherwise it could backfire on him in court. Jake smiled, knowing he had a trump card: the video game Never Have I Ever. He was sure that neither Jill nor the others knew about his existence. "Hello?" Connie answered the call in surprise, not understanding who could be calling so late. She didn't recognize the number and was ready to press the reject button. "Hello, Connie, it's me." "Jake, are you okay? Whose phone is this? I bought a burner phone today to keep some conversations secret. You will need to get one too. And no, I'm not fine. I'm 99% sure I can never be with Jill again, and there are only lonely nights ahead of me." She hesitated before answering softly, trying not to sound too excited. "I can come if you want. Could we just talk for a while?" "Of course, just let me turn off the TV." After a few seconds, she continued, "What do you want to talk about?" Jill never made it clear that there was something missing in our intimate life. "What could I have done differently? I think the key word you said is love. It seems to me no. I am sure that she loves you as much as you love her. Therefore, you need to understand what her lover brought into the situation that she decided to engage in such behavior that is contrary to her life." "Sex?" he asked. "She always seemed happy, after everything. Not sex related to love. It's like purely animalistic, rough sex. No inhibitions, two creatures of lust doing things she would never want to do to the man she loves. Saying dirty words to increase arousal. Since it only lasted a week and didn't happen all the time, she probably just satisfied her curiosity, but now she can't let it go. She told me he didn't mean anything to her, but she was going to do it again this year, so it clearly hasn't passed yet. Nothing in her heart. But why then did she risk losing the one she loves? I asked myself this question about my ex-husband. He said that he did not intend to do this, but the circumstances were such that it just happened. He was on a business trip, drinking with colleagues, and things got out of control with one of the divorced women. He begged me to forgive him, but if it happened once, what would stop it from happening again? But he said he did it because you were bad in bed. No, but she said it, didn't she? Or at least hinted that you are not on the same level as her lover. This is the most murderous thing. How can I be sure that I will ever be able to give her the same pleasure? Jake, are you sure I can't come? I can hardly restrain myself from saying no. But please don't give up on me because you know I care about you. Things are too confusing right now and I need a friend." After that, they talked about extending his stay in the corporate apartment for another month and about buying food and drinks. They discussed plans for Monday and said goodbye. The next day, Jake nervously knocked on Jill's parents' door. In his hands, he had a bouquet of daisies and a bottle of wine. Jill's car was nowhere in sight, so he decided it was safe to go in. "Jake, why are you knocking?" Mary said, opening the door for him. "Relatives don't knock." "Well, some things have changed," he said, without emotion. "Nothing has changed between us," she said, hugging him tightly. "Come in, Mac is watching football. He knows what's going on. I'll go cook dinner." "Hey, Jake," Jill's father smiled at him as he entered. "Come on in, the Cowboys are finally winning." Jake was surprised that Mac didn't say anything about the serious problem that hung over them. They talked a little about golf and his work until Mary called them to the table. Apparently, it was Mary who acted as the main mediator, because after dinner Mac stayed in the kitchen to clean up while she went out onto the veranda with Jake. Mary started first. Son, Jill told me everything about her short week with her ex-boyfriend from college. She knows she has made a huge mistake and is in danger of losing her marriage. Did she tell you everything? Yes, including the things she did with him that she never allowed you to do. But she swore to me that it was an isolated mistake that would never happen again. She looked at him, trying to see if he would believe it. But when he laughed and leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms, she knew he wasn't. Certainly. I already told you about my sister Agnes and the marriage contract that she signed after her infidelity was revealed. I hope this convinces you that she will have to be faithful now. Look, I know that the contract stipulates that she will be deprived of her share of our finances, giving me control of Julian, our home and property. There are probably items there, such as mandatory calls if she is delayed or installing a GPS in her purse and car. These are all just measures to instill in her fear of possible consequences, so that she no longer decides to cheat. But she's already proven that the possibility of losing it all doesn't stop her. Moreover, she revealed that it was not an accidental mistake because she planned to do it again. How do I know that this only happened last year and not during my trips to Europe? How do I know that Julian is even my daughter? Jake, how can you say that? Of course you are her father. Prove it. She ignored his words. So you're just going to give it all up? Are you ready to leave your daughter and see her from time to time? I'm not the kind of man who can turn a blind eye to his wife cheating with another man, even if it means I won't be able to see my daughter every day and night. I can't be with this woman who destroyed my trust and respect, and then told me I couldn't satisfy her the way another man could. Now I can barely look at her. What about Julian? Mary asked, making one last attempt. She is the only reason why I am here now and why I am thinking about moving back into the house. But only as her father, not as Jill's husband. I don't want to just disappear from her life. She's growing up, becoming smarter, and maybe you and I can help her understand that sometimes moms and dads disagree, but it has nothing to do with her. Mary thought for a moment and realized that if he returned to the house, Jill might have a tiny chance of convincing him to stay. You know that I am always ready to help, and know that Mac and I care deeply about you. What are you going to do next? It's not that late yet. I can spend time with my daughter, so I'm going to call Jill and ask if I can come over. Jake, please don't make any decisions until everyone calms down. I still have my prenuptial agreement, if that helps. I'll make you something to eat, she sighed and walked into the kitchen. Jill was playing an internet game with Juliana when her phone vibrated. She saw that Jake was calling. Hello, dear. Are you okay? Not really, but it is what it is. Anyway, can I come in now? I just visited your parents and would like to see your daughter. You don't need to ask. This is also your home. You can come whenever you want. We just had dinner and are playing. Is this Daddy? Juliana screamed, throwing the mini iPad on the sofa and running to the phone. Dad, where are you? Are you coming home? Yes, I'll be there in a few minutes, honey. I'm not the sun, I'm a ray of light, remember? Sure. See you soon. Bye. Bye, Dad. Jake wanted to be under the same roof as Julian, but not if Jill insisted that he forgive her. He knew he needed to talk to her about staying and discuss the rules. He parked the car not in the garage, but in the driveway. As he walked out, he saw the door open and Juliana ran down the steps and into his arms. She cried with happiness. Jake's eyes also became moist, as did Jill's as she stood on the porch. They kissed and the girl slipped out of his arms. May the force be with you, she said in a low voice. He laughed, remembering how they played Luke and Darth Vader. And you too, Darth. No, I'm Princess Leia and you're Luke. Jake briefly remembered his childhood friend Sam, with whom he played Star Wars with plastic lightsabers almost every evening. He was very close to Sam, but lost contact with him after school. Sam joined the army, and the last time Jake heard was that he was involved in some top-secret operations. His mother kept the lightsabers, and they were still in the attic. From time to time, he played with them along with Julian. Come on, Dad, I'll show you a new internet game. She took him by the hand and led him into the house. Hi, Jake, Jill said with a smile. We're so glad you're home. He just smiled and walked past without saying anything. Juliana didn't notice because she was dragging him into the living room. How to play this game. Jill was hurt by his cold reception, but decided not to show her disappointment. She changed into a silk blouse and tight shorts. If you're hungry, I have your favorite carrot cake. I baked it this morning. Maybe. I'm trying to lose weight. We have to get in shape, you know. She realized that he was probably hinting that he wanted to become more attractive to other women, but she didn't show it. I think you have great shape. He couldn't help himself. Not good enough, as it turns out. Dad, be more careful. His daughter was indignant. For the next hour they played, laughed merrily, and enjoyed communication. Jake felt good for the first time since he found out about the affair. Jill came into the room several times and asked questions about various things, but he ignored her. Leia and Luke ready for some pie? She asked after they finished the next level. For a moment, Jake felt like he was back in time when he was happily married and living with his beloved wife and daughter. But when Jill bent down to pick up the toy, he imagined Alex taking possession of it. He felt bad and ran to the bathroom. The rest of the evening, they listened to Julian talk about how she had learned to read and was the best in her class. She said their class was going on a field trip to a farm next Friday, and the teacher wanted to see if any of the parents could help. Of course I'll go, he quickly volunteered. I'll go too, Jill said with a smile. I think the teacher only needs one of us, honey, he replied, looking at her intently. I'm sure there's room for both. You know, I remembered that I had an important client that day. I need to go to the bathroom, Julian announced and ran upstairs. Will this be the case now? Jill sighed. I was hoping we could start over. He laughed. Are you serious? I'm back. After the pie, they decided to go for a walk to a small park outside. While Jill pushed Juliana on the swing, he tried to tickle her feet. They played hide and seek until the sun set and then went home. Juliana held both of their hands, and Jake was glad that he didn't have to hold his wife's hand. It was time to put the girl to bed, and she and Julian stood on the bed again, waiting for kisses. This time, Jake decided that he would fake a kiss on Jill's lips and lightly kiss her on the cheek. They both kissed their daughter, and he turned to Jill. As his face moved forward, her hands grabbed his head and held it tightly, her open lips capturing his. She stood between him and her daughter so Julian wouldn't see the deep kiss she was giving him. Finally, he woke up from the shock attack, picked her up, and carried her away. Don't ever do that again. Okay, now it's Daddy's turn to sing our song. It wasn't the reaction she was hoping for, but she wanted to give him the impression that he was the one who could satisfy her desire to just have rough sex every now and then. What she didn't realize had the opposite effect. See you later, she smiled, licking her lips. Jake felt a stirring in his lower back and tried to fight it, but several days had passed, but it was his body, not his brain, that was doing the talking. After singing, "You Are My Sunshine" to her, she fell asleep and he tiptoed out. He was about to go downstairs, but heard her voice in the bedroom. Jake, come here. He looked into the dimly lit bedroom and saw her standing on the bed, waiting for him. There was something special in her gaze, an invitation, a hint of desire. Her face was calm, but her eyes expressed hope and excitement. On the bed next to me is a remedy to make everything better. It's time to take back what's yours, she said quietly, smiling slightly. She closed her eyes, feeling slightly tense, and smiled when she heard the bedroom door close. He slowly approached her, feeling the full significance of this moment, how their trust in each other opened up space for something deeper and more sincere. Her breathing quickened, and she whispered, "Please, slow down. I want to enjoy this moment." She tried to repeat what she did with Alex, but failed when she said his size was so big. "Jake, don't go." But it was too late. He quickly got dressed and ran down the stairs. Well, things didn't go as planned, she sighed. Alex waited on pins and needles for the hammer to fall. Anna kept asking him what was wrong, and he kept lying about a new job at work. Once he met her after college, he stopped being a predator and a gambler and began a comfortable life as a devoted father. After eating all those cherries his freshman year, he earned a reputation as the go-to guy for girls looking to experience sex. With each new conquest, he learned what made women feel satisfied, and he became better and better. She was completely innocent with Jill, but quickly opened up to everything he wanted to do to her. He gave her attention and care in intimate relationships, trying many different manifestations of tenderness. When they became so close that he hugged her tighter than before, she wanted to make their relationship more serious. They spent 2 weeks together, enjoying each other's company, but after that he realized that they should break up. For most women, it was simply physical attraction, not associated with feelings. She didn't understand, and he had to end the relationship. Why did I even start dating her while her husband was in Europe? After everything that happened, we both felt guilty. But oddly enough, we managed to hide everything, and no one even suspected. Is it worth telling everything about Wanda? I can't just sit back and wait. I need to do something to convince her husband not to bring this up. But how? After a while, he picked up the phone. Dad, I need your help. Jake didn't answer any calls or messages from Jill, Wanda, or Mary for almost a week. He knew Julian would be upset, but he couldn't go back to that house. To make matters worse, he was now in front of ugly Jill's eyes, offering her ass to this idiot. Connie came to the apartment almost every night, but he was still able to withhold sex from her. However, they constantly hugged and sometimes kissed while watching TV. He did everything he could to protect his investments, bank accounts, and the collection of rare coins he inherited from his grandfather. Jill still received a salary from school, and he kept track of her expenses on their joint credit card. He saw no indication that she had contacted a lawyer, but he was sure she was checking her options. It's been a few days since the shit hit the fan. Jake used to run early on Saturday mornings in a nearby park. Very few people go out early enough for it to take off without hitting anyone. As he walked around a rather dense bush, a man jumped out of the bushes, tripped, and pushed him forward. He fell head first and hit his head. Everything was unclear as he tried to stand up, but felt someone's boot pressing down on the middle of his back. Listen to me, asshole. If you still tell my wife, I will come back and finish what I started this morning. Stop touching your wife. This happened once and will never happen again. Understood? Yes, Jake screamed. As soon as the leg left him high enough, he spun around and grabbed the man's ankle. With both hands, he lifted and pushed until his attacker fell next to him. Although Alex was larger, Jake quickly grabbed the man's arm and pulled it behind his back. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time, asshole, Jake said, raising his hand to Alex's back. Get ready to eat some dirt. Oh shit, this hurts, Alex screamed, feeling his shoulder crack. Daddy, help. Who? Jake asked just before it got completely dark. Dad, wake up, he heard from afar, as if through fog. Some kind of sound signal was heard. People were talking, but he could not make out the words. Then he heard his wife's voice. Sing to him, honey. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when. He opened my eyes, Mom. He managed to smile as he saw his beautiful daughter trying to climb onto the hospital bed. Darling, get off. Nurse, come quickly. He expected a cute nurse to come, but instead a thin, bald man appeared. Welcome back, Jake, the nurse grinned. Let's see how you feel. For the next half hour, nurses and doctors carried out checks and tests. I think he'll be fine, but I'd keep him here overnight to wait for all the test results, Jill's doctor said. But the police are already on their way to find out why he was found unconscious on the path in the park. You're coming home tomorrow, Jill said firmly. He tried to say something, but she raised her hand. No, don't even think about going anywhere else. He must have been given some kind of muscle relaxant because he felt weak. After he dozed off again, he heard the nurse's voice. Jake, it's time to wake up. The officers came here and want to talk to you. It took him a few minutes to concentrate, and when he finally did, two rather young policemen stood before him. A tall woman with red hair and a short, but strongly built guy with short hair. I think you want to know what happened to me. Yes, sir. We received a call about a man lying unconscious on the path in North Park. The paramedics arrived first and tried to revive you, but you were lethargic and kept saying, "Fuck you, asshole." Do you remember anything? Asked the policewoman. I remember that I was running, fell, and... That's it, he lied. Well, sir, the paramedics said you fell face first, judging by the scratches and abrasions on your forehead, arms, elbows, and knees. Do you remember why you fell? Not really, but why then does the back of my head hurt? This is the main question. The back of the head hit something or something hit it. Do you know anyone who might hit you? He didn't want to tell them too much in case he needed to blame it all on Jill's lover. I remember someone screaming "Dad," and then nothing until I woke up here. Paramedics spotted two men running from the park when they arrived. They couldn't get a good look at them, but they said one was about 30 and the other much older. But if it was a robbery, why didn't they take your wallet and watch? Asked the short-haired policeman. That's for you to find out, Jake replied. He didn't want the cops to arrest Alex before he got even, but he knew he needed help. Is that all, officers? Yes, but if you remember anything, please call me. The redhead smiled, placing her business card on the table next to his bed. When they left, he asked the nurse to bring him the phone. Left alone, he found the number in his contacts list and called. Hi, this is Sam. Leave a message. Pip. Hey Yoda, this is Luke. The Death Star has returned and I need your help. Come as soon as possible. It's time for the Jedi to fight again. I'll send the address in a message. If I'm not there, the key is above the porch. So in short, if you can't get it, substitute something. Hurry up. He hung up and thought about how he and Sam grew up. They had been friends since childhood. Both were short and faced bullying at school and on the playground from the very beginning. He remembered how once he was knocked down, and he was about to get up, but he saw a fat guy fall down next to him. Turning around, he saw Sam. Thanks, Yoda, he joked. Sam was small, but angrier than a snake and knew how to fight dirty, using sticks, stones, and anything that came to hand. They always had each other's backs, and soon the bigger guys and girls tried to avoid them. But Sam moved right after high school, and he hadn't heard anything about him until one day he saw him walking into a computer lab at college. Well, hello, Jake heard, and looked up to see Connie standing at the foot of his hospital bed. She noticed that his head, arms, and elbows were bandaged. Did you manage to see the license plate of that truck? No, but I know who did it. But who? She asked with a puzzled look. Who benefits from silencing me? Wanda? Think further. It dawned on her. Can't be. Have you reported it to the police? No evidence. But I'm glad you're here. Let the office know that I was injured in an accident and will be back in a few days. In the meantime, I'm giving your name and number to my childhood best friend. His name is Sam, and I want you to make sure the apartment is still available for us to stay in when I'm well enough. Us? That is, you and me? She asked hopefully. Me and Sam. By the way, don't be surprised if you hear me called Luke and Sam Yoda. It goes back to when we were into Star Wars. Jake, this is not a joke. You are seriously injured, and the police should take care of this. Not yet. I owe that bastard something, and now even more. Promise me you won't tell anyone. Now I need you more than ever. Promise. I promise, she said, realizing that she had fallen in love with him. She went over to kiss him when she heard Jill's voice at the door. You promise him what, Connie? Connie turned and glanced at her unfaithful wife. It's none of your business. You have lost the right to ask such questions. Fuck you, Connie. Damn, stop it, both of you. Can't you see that I'm trying to rest? Jake pressed the button to call the nurse. She came running and saw how two women were ready to claw each other's eyes out. Please escort these two ladies to the waiting area. Before you go, Jill, where is Juliana? I came to tell her that her mother took her to feed her and will bring her back later. His eyes closed for a few seconds and opened again when the phone rang. It was a message from Sam. I'll be there soon. It had been a long time since he had heard of Sam, and he felt calmer knowing that his Jedi friend would be coming soon. A few hours later, Mary and Mac came to see us. It was nice to see them and to know that they still valued him as a family as much as he valued them. They also wanted to know what had happened, but he didn't tell them anything new about his attackers. His little ray of sunshine, Juliana, came back to Jill and made his day so much better. He decided to stay with them until he got better. Late at night, he felt someone's presence in the room, but thought that he was dreaming. Suddenly, he felt a chill, saw a moving shadow, and quietly pressed the button to call a nurse. A young woman came in and turned on the light. Is everything all right, sir? It seemed to me that someone was in the room and looking at me. The nurse ignored him. Anything else I can do for you? I guess not, he said. Wait, could you look in the bathroom? She held back a giggle and did as he asked. Yes, it's empty. Jake knew it was Sam. But how the hell did Yoda get there so fast? Later that night, Connie stopped by the apartment to make sure Jake had food and drinks when he returned. Since she worked for him, she was allowed to come and go as she pleased as long as it concerned Jake's business. She took her night clothes with her, anticipating that she would soon be staying here for the night. Jake told her to keep an eye on Sam, but didn't tell her what he looked like. When she arrived, she noticed that someone had turned on the air conditioning. Hey, is anyone here? When no one answered, she walked slowly around the apartment and found a green duffel bag on the bed in the spare bedroom. Sam, are you here? She turned around and nearly fainted when she saw a short, dark-haired woman in boxer shorts and a strapless top. Ah, you scared me. She glanced at her round breasts. Who are you and where is Sam? The short woman laughed. You must be Connie. Jake, told me to wait for you. I'm Sam. He didn't say you were a woman. Is your real name Sam? She laughed. My name is Samela Annabella Garcia. Samela is a Hebrew name from my mother's side, and the rest is Spanish from my father's side. Since childhood, everyone has started calling me Sam. Nice to meet you, Sam. I'm Connie. The taller, slimmer woman smiled. She extended her hand, but Sam pulled it away and hugged her tightly. Any good friend of Jake's is a friend of mine, she whispered, leaning down to brush her lips against Connie's earlobe. It had been months since Connie had made love to someone other than her sex toy. For the first time, she felt desire and excitement from another woman's touch. We, that is. Sam smiled and slowly let her go, but she was surprised when Connie didn't pull away immediately. I didn't eat. Are you hungry? Why don't we order some pizza and you can tell me what's going on here? Sam smiled, sneaking a glance at Connie's chest. Over the next 2 hours, Connie told her everything she knew. They ate pizza and drank beer until they fell asleep on the floor in front of the couch, cuddled up to each other. In the middle of the night, Connie felt that she was having a strange and surprisingly vivid dream in which someone was touching her with tenderness and passion. She was awakened by her own scream. Oh, looking around, she saw Sam, who was nearby and gently caressed her, moving with amazing accuracy. Connie felt excitement and an amazing heat engulfing her body. Oh my God, she exclaimed, feeling something new and powerful flare up inside her. Don't stop, damn it. Never stop. Connie could hardly comprehend what was happening, her mind clouded under the onslaught of pleasure. But Sam knew what she was doing and was ready to continue. When they both calmed down, Sam began to cover Connie with tender kisses, moving upward from her stomach to her breasts and finally to her lips. Connie answered her, and Sam smiled, feeling their touches becoming even more trusting and tender. Oh my God, Sam, it was incredible, Connie gasped, turning around and pressing her bare thigh against the legs of the short but muscular woman. "I should have asked you this sooner," Sam whispered, feeling her thigh rub against her own desire. "You and Jake are, well, a couple." Connie laughed. "Damn, how I wish we were a couple. I spent so many nights caressing myself, wishing it was with me. I tried several times after he found out Jill cheated on him, but he's too much of a regular guy. What about you? Have you ever been together with him? For a long time, he was like a brother to me. Before the school prom, we both didn't have a date, and we decided to just go and have fun. But after seeing all these couples dancing close together, kissing and discussing plans for the night, we gave in to the mood and spent the night together. We took each other's virginity and didn't sleep until the morning. My family moved soon after, and we were both so embarrassed by what had happened that we stopped communicating. I had my eye on where he would go to college and transferred there to surprise him. But by then he was already with Jill, and the rest was history. It broke my heart, and I ran away to join the army. So now that Jill is almost out of the game, I'm going to have to compete with you for Jake's attention," Connie said, her fingers starting to explore Sam's body under his t-shirt. "Damn, I wish I had breasts like that." Connie turned to Sam and smiled. "I'm a little unsure of what I'm doing, but I want to learn." Sam laughed lightly, looking at her warmly. "The best way to learn is to try again and again." Connie carefully watched her reaction, trying to understand what she liked. She studied, experimented, and watched Sam's sensations, who seemed to enjoy every moment. At some point, as Connie moved lower, she saw a funny tattoo that made her smile. "Yoda," she asked in surprise when she saw the small image. Sam laughed. Yes, it was Jake's idea. He was always a bit of a joker. Connie shook her head, laughing along with her. I would like something like that too. Maybe someday I'll come up with an idea." Sam looked at her with tenderness. "Everything in due time. For now, let's continue. It's your turn to show what you've learned." With each passing moment, the intimacy between them grew, and both girls enjoyed this new experience, trusting each other completely and enjoying their time together. Jake staggered slightly as he entered the house through the garage door. Mary and Mac helped him get settled. As they directed him to the master bedroom, he stopped and turned towards the guest room. "I'll sleep here. I'm very tired. Juliana, would you like to lie down with Dad while I rest?" "Of course, Dad. What a stupid question." It was immediately clear that Jill no longer had a place in his life. Since he found out about what happened, he hasn't said anything nice to her. Mary and Mac left, and the house became quiet. Only Julian's laughter and chatter could be heard. Jill's problem was that there was nothing she could do. She had apologized many times before and knew that her excuses were weak and unconvincing. Her mother said that Jake had mentioned that he might be living at home for a while, so that Julian could gradually get used to the idea that her parents were separating and she would live with one or the other. Jake had already restricted spending on their joint credit card, so Jill guessed that he had started transferring money from their joint accounts and assets. Wanda gave her the lawyer's number, and she planned to contact him the next day. While Juliana sang a song and tucked her sweetie into bed, Jake walked into the master bedroom to grab some clothes and toiletries and saw Jill already completely covered with a blanket. He felt sorry for her, but she brought this upon herself. The hatred began to fade, but it still remained and was not going to disappear. He did not feel tired, so he decided to do some things on the computer. His previous searches for information about Alex Mason had turned up nothing, but he found a mention of a Dewey in college, although the charges had been dropped, and there was no mention of a graduation certificate. He discovered a marriage advertisement for Ann Kruger, whose parents are Heinz and Jean Kruger. Alex's parents were listed as Birchwold and Hannah Mason. "Butchwold, isn't it? Did you hit me on the back of the head?" He printed out a list of names and decided that he would need a professional check on this guy and his family. He thought about calling Connie, but he didn't want Jill to hear their conversation, so he sent her a message. "I got home. I'll be here for a few days. I'll call you later. Did you get Sam?" After waiting 10 minutes and receiving no answer, he went to the guest room and fell asleep in his clothes. Connie woke up the next morning and looked around to see where she was. She was naked and lying on the floor, and her shirt, shorts, panties, and bra were scattered around the room. Suddenly, she remembered how many times she had enjoyed it. "Oh God, Sam," she said out loud. "Good morning," Sam laughed, entering the room from the kitchen wearing nothing but a large white t-shirt. "I made cookies and found eggs for us." Connie laughed as she watched Sam try to cover his nakedness. "I got to know Ray very well yesterday, so you don't have to hide her from me today." "Ray?" Connie asked. "Who is Ray?" She turned to face her, showing everything. "Last night you wanted to give your charms a Star Wars name like Jake and I. So, after getting to know her better, I decided that her name is now Ray. Do you hear, baby? You are now a Jedi Knight. I'm starving. Here's a robe. I found it in the closet upstairs. Put it on, and after eating, I'll wash you off in the shower." Sam smiled. "Is that all you're going to do to me in the shower?" Connie teased. "You're just restless, aren't you?" While eating, Connie checked her phone and saw a message from Jake. "Jake is home and settling in. He'll call later." She replied to the message and hurried to put away the dishes. "Let's go play with our Jedi Knights in the shower." Julian made sure everyone got up early and was already playing with Dad with Lego when Jill came downstairs. "Good morning, Mom. You're so happy that Dad is home, aren't you?" "Of course. What about you, Dad?" He looked at her with anger. "Yes, I missed my ray of sunshine so much while I was away." She expected something like this and didn't answer. "I have a meeting with someone this morning. I'll be back in the afternoon." "Can you look after our daughter, or should I call my mom?" He smiled, guessing that he was meeting with a lawyer. "I can handle it. The doctor said I needed to rest for a few days. Will you take care of me too, Sunbeam?" She nodded. After a while, when Jill was about to leave, Jake whispered in her ear, "Tell Alex that I'm in his debt." She was puzzled by his words until she remembered the attack. "You don't think that? Who else could be afraid of being exposed? He would never do that. Are you protecting your lover now? He's not mine." Jake walked away before she could finish. Lover. After she left, Jake began talking to his daughter about how he would live in another place, but very close. She got very upset, threw the Lego on the floor, and ran out of the room. A few minutes later, she returned. "But you'll still see me often, right? And sing me my song." "Certainly. And sometimes you will sleep at my place, and we can swim in the pool." He assumed that most condos had swimming pools. "If not, he will make sure there will be." She perked up. "Is there a swimming pool there?" Billy's parents have two different homes, and he says his dad has a pool too. But he has two fathers, and I want you to be only my dad. I will always be your real dad. No one can ever take that away. He hoped that Juliana was really his daughter. "But this is our secret. Don't tell anyone about this, okay?" She giggled. "Okay, only ours, even Mom." "You mean he doesn't have any evidence of your betrayal?" Family law attorney George Altman asked Jill. "No videos or photos?" "I think not. He was in Europe during the betrayal, and we didn't see any cameras the day we played. These are all just rumors." This is good because many judges take evidence of infidelity into account when determining custody and distributing assets. "Is there a chance for reconciliation?" She sighed, feeling her eyes begin to fill with tears again. "Judging by his actions, I don't think he's considering that possibility. Another problem is that he heard 3 other women admit to cheating. Why the hell are 4 women admitting to cheating on their husbands in public? I ask myself this question every day. It started out as fun, but after the wine it turned to sex. I wasn't going to say anything, but when the other 3 confessed, I thought they wouldn't say anything and Jake would never know. It could be a problem if Jake's lawyer calls these women to testify under oath. If they lie and the judge finds out, they will be held in contempt of court. The same thing awaits you if they also get divorced. Do you think Jake will agree to settle everything before trial?" I have no idea what Jake will do now or in the future. In all my years, I have never seen him so angry and vindictive. What about the other man? I told him that Jake knew about that week, and he was upset that he might tell his wife. He has 2 sons and loves his wife. Ah, there's one more thing. Jake was recently attacked in the park and told me in hints that he thought it was Alex. Did he tell the police about this? No, he said something about his debts. Let's not talk about that now. We already have enough worries. How about finances? This can be costly if the case goes to trial. My mother said that she would support me in any case. A few days after Jake's wounds had healed, he decided to visit Sam. Jill went to work and Julian was at her year-round school. Connie kept him in the loop and gave Sam the names of Alex and his father so he could check them through his government connections. Jake didn't warn Sam about the visit and was stunned to see Connie's car outside his house. She said she works from home. Quietly opening the door, he heard laughter, and then there was silence. Jake followed the sounds upstairs and walked to the master bedroom door. Looking inside, he froze. Connie was on her knees and Sam was using the toy to tease her. Jake knew he should be angry, but he suddenly found it fascinating. "Come on, Yoda, harder," Connie said, laughing. "There will be nothing left of you when Luke takes care of you." "You're just jealous," Sam retorted. "Admit it, you would also like him to be with you first." Jake could feel how it was all affecting him, but he was able to suppress the urge and went downstairs to give the girls their space. Sitting in his chair, he closed his eyes, hearing muffled voices. "Everyone seems to be having their moment except me," he whispered. "Who is Rey?" he muttered, and then remembered that she was the last of the Jedi Skywalkers. "Ha, now Connie is Rey." He heard their kisses and moans and decided to interrupt their fun. When he quietly entered the room, they lay hugging each other. "Well, I see you've already met," he said. Sam stood up, ready to defend herself, but noticed Jake first. "Damn, Jake, you're lucky I didn't kill you." She noticed that he was looking at her bare breasts. "Hey, eyes here, Luke," she laughed, pointing to her face. "Damn it, Sam, when did you raise them?" "You like it." Connie lay on her stomach and looked at her boss. "Hello, boss." "She has such a cute butt, doesn't she?" Sam asked, squeezing Connie's right buttock. "Yes, can I, Connie?" She nodded, and Jake squeezed her left buttock. They took turns stroking and massaging her for several minutes. "Are you two having fun?" Connie giggled. Jake looked at the bed and noticed stains and wrinkles in the sheets. "Well, how long have you been doing this?" Somehow he remained calm while sitting next to 2 hot naked women. Sam replied, Let me think. Since yesterday morning, so about 30 o'clock. But we didn't sleep much, didn't we, Yoda?" "True, Rey." Jake laughed. "Rey, then. Sam called you Rey?" He ran his finger down through her buttocks. Connie moaned. "Don't do this if you're not going to continue," she pleaded. Feeling him pull away, she whispered. "Jake, I can't. I can't yet," he sighed and went downstairs. Sam got dressed and followed him. "I hope you're not mad about me and her. Is she your future girlfriend?" "Damn, Sam, I'm only thinking about tomorrow right now. Sit down, I'll show you the video and tell you the story." They watched the video, I've never, together and discussed what they saw, not knowing that Connie was standing in the hallway eavesdropping. "To hell with her," Sam muttered. "She says she loves you, but she sleeps with another guy for a whole week while you were abroad." Basically, this freak was afraid that I would tell his wife and attacked me when I was running in the park. I quickly knocked him out, but then his father hit me on the head with something and knocked him out. That's when I contacted you. Do you want me to get rid of him and his father? I can, you know. No, not so radical, but I want him to suffer more than me. He must lose his family, his job, and remember me for the rest of his life. Okay, but it will just be me. I don't want to involve you. But we are a team, Luke and Yoda. And Rey, Connie announced as she entered the room. "How about I make sure the other 3 husbands find out that their wives admitted cheating, and Sam takes care of the 2 idiots?" Sam smiled at her passionate lover. Okay, but first I'll find out what the government has on them. Give me this idiot's address and I'll check it out. Jake soon went home to catch Juliana's return from school. He believed Jill when she said her fling with the bastard only lasted 5 days last year and didn't insist on a DNA test. He spent the entire day playing and talking with his daughter, and again mentioned that he would live separately, but nearby. Juliana seemed to be getting used to the idea, and Jake knew it was time to end things with Jill, but first he needed a good excuse to justify his actions while Sam dealt with the two men. Mary sat opposite her daughter, watching her tense face. She felt terrible for Jill and what she had done, destroying her family. She understood that a marriage contract would not save the situation and did not know what to do next. "I'm afraid Jake is going to get a divorce after all," she said. "I know," Jill sobbed. "I can't blame him. If he had done this to me, I would have kicked him out too. Why didn't I think about the consequences if he found out? He doesn't even look at me anymore. I'm sure he will be honest and try to maintain friendly relations between you. But we will do everything to ensure that his lawyer does not deceive you. I can't believe it's all over. Just a month ago, I thought my life was perfect. I had a wonderful husband and daughter, and I, an idiot, had to tell the whole world that I had cheated. Now I can only hope that he will someday forgive me and at least behave in a civilized manner. I feel sorry for Dad and you because I know how much you love Jake like a son. Jake practically told me who beat him up, and now I know what I need to do." Anna Mason was cleaning her car in her driveway when she heard another car pull up in front of the house. Alex was inside watching the football game, and the boys were at a friend's house playing in the pool. It was a normal day until she heard a woman's voice behind her. "Are you Anna?" "Yes," she smiled at the elegantly dressed woman. "Do we know each other?" "No, not really, but I know your husband, Alex." Anna had been afraid of this for a long time, since she had heard snippets of conversations about Alex being a womanizer in college. The women looked at each other for more than a minute, saying nothing, until Anna felt weak and leaned against the car. "Alex and you." "Yes, it was only 5 days last year, and—" "Oh no, shut up," Alex shouted, running out the door. "Leave. She's lying." Anna turned to him with fury in her eyes. "You bastard, pack your things and get out. She's crazy. She's been following me since college, ever since I left her." Alex ran out to hug his wife, but she kneed him in the groin. He fell to his knees. "Anna, please, I love you." Anna had never hit people before, but she clenched her fist and punched him in the nose with all her might. There was a crunch and Alex fell face first. She turned to the other woman. "Get out of here before I call the police." After that, Anna entered the house and closed the door. Jill waited a few minutes to make sure Anna remained in the house and walked over to Alex, who was trying to get up on all fours. "This is for what you did to Jake," she said, before her foot came down hard on his already broken nose. Alex lost consciousness. Sam watched this from behind the bushes with a telescopic lens and could hardly contain her laughter when Anna came out of the house and began throwing men's clothes and shoes onto the lawn. Neighbors began to gather, and someone called the police. By the time they arrived, there was already enough stuff on the lawn, and Alex was just beginning to come to his senses. Sam waited until everything was quiet and quietly walked away to her rented van. She called Jake. "Luke, Darth Vader is defeated. Now I go after Emperor Palpatine." Jake sat down on the sofa. "What do you mean defeated? Did you kill him?" Sam laughed. "I swear I didn't lay a finger on him." "Now we need to tell his wife." It's already done." Sam hung up and called her friends from the FBI. "It's time." Birchwood and Hannah Mason were entertaining guests by the Olympic-size pool when their maid Helger ran out to them with a worried face. "Mr. Mason, sir, there are people outside. They say that they urgently need to see you. Tell them to get out. We do not accept any merchants. But they have badges, sir." "What? Damn it. Tell them I'll come out when I change," Birchwood muttered, getting up from the lounge. As soon as Helga left, he and his wife hurried to change clothes. Open the safe and take out the suitcase and canvas bag with the money, dear. We'll leave through the back gate." Hannah quickly opened the safe, but at that moment the door swung open with a bang. 3 men in black uniforms with guns drawn burst into the room. Out of the place, one of them commanded loudly, "You have no right to do this. I will sue you for breaking the law," Birchwood shouted. "We have a federal warrant," the agent answered calmly. "You and your wife have been arrested for international money laundering." The couple was handcuffed. A suitcase and canvas bag full of cash and accounts were seized. In the car that was taking them to the detention center, the old man asked bitterly, "Who set you on?" "I can't say, sir," the agent smiled. The informant remained anonymous. The news became the lead story at 11 p.m. Luke, Yoda, and Ray sat in front of the TV with a bottle of champagne. "May the force be with us," they proclaimed together, raising their glasses. After Sam told Jake that Jill exposed Alex's infidelity to Anna and described how both women literally knocked the wind out of him, Jake felt better. Jill assured her that Alex meant nothing to her, and this time Jake believed her. However, he couldn't forget that she had cheated on him for 5 days and was going to do it again. And most importantly, he couldn't forgive her for saying that Alex was superior to him in bed. Despite Jill's efforts to convince him otherwise, Jake was adamant. They agreed to formalize their separation without an official divorce. The agreement included a 90-day period during which Jake would move into a new 3-bedroom condominium located between their old home and Julian's school. "I love you and always will," Jill said on the last day of his move. "I will regret all my life that I ruined our beautiful life. You are a wonderful person. I hope you will be happy with Connie, but please don't forget me and the wonderful years we spent together. Hey, we'll see each other often when I pick up our girl or look after her while you're busy," he replied. "By the way, I wanted to say that Sam is leaving the service and moving in with us." Jill frowned. "Sounds suspicious." "You can't even imagine how much," Jake grinned. That night, Luke, Yoda, and Ray went on their threesome honeymoon. When they finally finished, the 2 women lay next to Jake, exhausted but content. "Come on, Jedi, can't you do more?" he asked with a smile. They laughed and turned to him, ready to fight again. Wanda and the wives of 2 of Jake's golf buddies tried to make excuses for playing never happened, claiming they were just trying to fool around. But Jake convinced Jill to confirm that they were all telling the truth. The golfers' wives saved their marriages by signing prenuptial agreements like the one Mary proposed, but Wanda refused to acknowledge the infidelity. As a result, her husband disappeared from the city, taking all the money. She never saw him again and now works at the entrance to Walmart, greeting customers. The feds discovered that Alex was also involved in money laundering and sentenced him to 15 years in prison, along with his parents. A video of 2 women beating Alex has gone viral on YouTube and has received over 1 million views. Jill didn't start a relationship for over a year, hoping that Jake would forgive her and come back. But when she found out that 2 women were expecting his children within a month of each other, she knew it was all over. She soon met a man, an insurance salesman, and fell in love again, but stayed in the same house so that Juliana could be close to her father. When the girl turned 18, the house was sold and Jill sent Jake his share. Julian married and was devoted to her husband. Their only child was named Sunshine. As for Jake's children, both a boy and a girl turned out to be young Jedi born to Connie and Sam. The girl was named Sky, and the boy was named Walker. End. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think. Click to the next one. 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 Click